Okay, so I am here with the beautiful Pam, and we're going to talk about Pam's journey with Platinum, what she's planning for the future, but where she was and how this has been helpful. Welcome, Pam.
Good morning, Tina. Welcome, welcome. Thank you.
Let's get straight to it. So you joined Platinum in November time.
Yep, yep,
Okay,
that's
so
right.
let's just go back in time to November and tell me, how were you feeling in that moment in November where you were kind of were you contemplating having a business? Did you already have one? Like where were you at?
Okay, so where I came from, if I go back to November, one of the big things for me was I'm involved in the network marketing space, and I still am till today, and I love a lot about it. But I also knew I had so much more to give. When I went into that industry, I shed kind of a lot of my clinical experience. I come from a background as a clinical psychologist, and I kind of shed that because it didn't really necessarily. I used some of the skills, but didn't actually, sort of practice, if you like, a lot of what I knew. So when I came to November, I was like, right, I love what I'm doing, but I've got more to give. I love working with people. I love helping people, but I also saw a lot of the challenges people that I currently work with had around mindset. So I was like, right, there's something more here. And I dabbled a little bit with entrepreneurship, and then obviously I saw something going. Emma just seemed to be appearing again. I'm very intuitive. She seemed to be everywhere I went, and I thought, right, I've got to have a conversation about what my future plans look like. And basically from that conversation, everything just fell into place. And I was like, right, I've got a roadmap. I like where this is going.
I remember when I had a first conversation with Emma and I said to her, "You are like human chat GPT. It's like I'm telling you what I need, and you're just like and just figuring it all out in like
Yeah,
seconds. Well, the stuff that I'd had in my head for years, you have
yeah,
just unraveled in seconds. And so that
100%.
was your experience too.
Yeah, 100%. And you know what? And I actually had a conversation with him, and I was like, I'm not sure if it's the right time to do it. And she went, why not? She went, if not now, when? And you know that statement, and I've heard it before,
Yes.
but when she said that if not now, when, I was like, oh, oh, okay. And it was literally like she helped me slot everything in place. We had a roadmap. And obviously, my journey with Emma has been incredible as well. And I know we're going to touch on some of that, but just some of the steps that came after that became crystal clear about where I should go and where I can help other people actually stop, get away from staying stuck in basically what goes on up here.
Yeah. So it was kind of your own journey that was giving you the insights as to where everybody else was perhaps flat on their journeys. And once you'd figured out the solution to that, it's like, okay, now I've got to just go and tell everyone about it.
Exactly, exactly. And obviously, part of that takes a bit of time. And one of the biggest challenges I've had is because I want obviously to give as much value as I can to anybody that connects with me. So one of the biggest challenges is like how quickly can I do that? But I've got some super, super exciting things coming a little bit later. We're almost there, but we're not quite there yet. So watch out for springtime.
Well, how has that been for you? Like if we look at the emotional journey throughout all of this, how's it been knowing that you've got these exciting things now that like literally a few months ago you didn't know what you were going to be doing, and now you've got a clear map, you're excited. How's that impacted you?
Do you know what, Tina? And I think I've been on a journey for over a year now of really understanding myself better, I guess, the stage I'm at in life in general. But one of the things is it's been a real emotional roller coaster. There's been highs, there's been lows, there's been tears, there's been tantrums. But what I've absolutely loved since I joined Platinum is, one of the many, many benefits is the experts that we can tap into, as well as Emma, who's so accessible, is going to people who've got an expertise. I'm not a naturally creative person, and I'm like, well, I don't know what that looks like, so I can go to an expert. I'm not techie, so I'm like, right, how do I fix that bit? So again, what I've loved is just being able to tap into all the experts to kind of keep me on the path. So once I get to the point where I've kind of chucked my toys out the pram and had a tantrum to myself, I reach out to an expert and I move on.
Yeah. Because there is that element in all of us that's like we just want to figure this out ourselves. We want to get going, so we don't want to kind of have to wait for anything. But then you come to a point where you're doing that, and then you hit the wall, don't you? And you think, right, I can either try and figure this out and waste another week, another month,
Yeah,
or I can book a call in I can get an answer straight away, and I can be doing something about it this afternoon.
Yeah, 100%. And you know, that in itself has been a complete game changer because I know where my expertise lies, but I also know where my expertise doesn't lie. So I'll always try and learn and grow. So I give things a go. And if I've had to play around for way longer than I know I should, I'm like, yeah, I'm done. Who can I find? Because I think that's part of the beauty of, I guess it's leaning into your own skills, but also surrounding yourself by a community of people that make a huge difference to you making progress. And I've always just kind of had the mindset, look, the time frame of when I launch is not the key thing, although in my mind I always knew what I would like it to be. But I've just thought every week I've got to just make steps forward. And since Drowning Platinum, in fact, I've made more progress since November, bearing in mind we had Christmas and stuff. I've just became a grandmother again, you know, got normal life stuff going on in a business at high season. So having those baby steps forward and that constant movement, knowing there's a little roadmap. I am the person that draws a little road and then kind of dots it all out. So I'm very visual. So let's just ticking things off. I'm like, look, this is more progress than I've made for years in many, many other areas, as well as this new business.
So the benefits of platinum combined, the one-to-one calls, the call with Emma, the having the roadmap, the strategies in place, like all of that combined was what you knew you needed, but it was like you didn't know until you had it.
It's exactly, I now know that's what I needed, but I didn't know that then. And even simple things, Tina. I mean, Emma teaches, obviously, you know as well, the, sort of core strategies. When I looked, and I had that moment of, oh my goodness, what am I doing? I'm like, I don't even have these core strategies in my other business, and I talk a lot about things like audience building, but I thought, actually, that's not something that's really intentionally done. It's just that constant, if you like, keep moving forward. So just simplifying some things, going, right, there's a system for that, so I can teach anybody that. Even that in itself has had a huge impact, because it's just like, right, this used to be quite like frantic, a little bit like, ooh, like what
In the
we're going to do
chaos.
next. Whereas now it's literally like, this feeds to this feeds to this, and we just keep moving. And you can easily identify, because the systems are there, you can easily identify where your weaknesses are, what are the things you need to give more focus at this time. And obviously part of that is really helpful when you're going to launch something new, is making sure that, you're doing the right things at the right time.
So let's talk about what you are launching.
Very, very exciting. Very, very exciting.
Let's just put the spotlight right on you, Pam, and you can tell
No
everybody
pressure
today.
at all.
Let's just ramp up the accountability to the next level. You tell everybody what it is that you're launching in the spring.
So in the next week, you will, if you're already connected with me, or if you do, hop over and connect with me, you will see I'm going to make a little bit of a shift on what I'm sharing in my social media content. I'm going to be going out there to give you guys as much value and education as I can around mindset, manifestation, and how you have everything within you to give you abundance, and whatever that looks like for you. Right, or you already have it, you just need to know how to tap into it. So I'm going to be launching some little mini courses that are actually going to help people get the foundations right. And then in the spring, I am launching a flagship Become a Mindset and Manifestation Coach program, which is very, very exciting and also very terrifying.
Oh my God, but it's one of those things that it's like it should be a bit scary, right?
100%.
Otherwise the payoff's not going to be the same. Like
Yeah.
if it was just easy and you go and do it, like yes, that's great. And eventually the more you do this, it will get to a point where it feels easy, won't it? But
Yeah.
it's like having enough fear to know that this is a juicy goal. This is a dream
Yeah.
that I'm putting
100%.
out there. This is like when this happens and I'm delivering this, the feeling that you're going to have in that moment because of the fear was there is going to be incredible. It's going to be electric, the energy that you have when you start to launch that.
Do you know, Tina, it's really funny. I had a conversation just over the last couple of weekends with my sister, who is my biggest supporter. And she said, and I was rolling out, I'd suddenly got, right, I'm going to tell her exactly what I'm doing. She knew I was doing something, but I told her. And she said to me, do you remember? And she actually told me a month and a year that we had a conversation that I said, this is something that was really a dream, a passion of mine to do. And she said, do you remember? Because we work in kind of polar opposites in terms of what we do. And she said to me, do you remember I talked about doing this? And you had said the absolute dream for you was to launch this business. Now, I'd even forgot I'd said that back then. So we've gone, maybe 10 years on, and I'm suddenly like, right, let's do it. let's do and fulfill, because I also think it's important that, some people hear things like mindset, manifestation, and they think it's a little bit woo-woo and it's all, up here. But actually, a lot of what I'm going to teach is basically a no BS version. It's going to be how the science works, how the brain works, and how you can leverage that to absolutely live an incredible life, whatever that looks like to you. Some people want huge, others are happy to just make progress from where they are. So I'm here for all of it.
Well, I love all of that. The science for me is a big thing. Like I'm obsessed with it. So I can't wait to see the content that you bring out. Can't wait to get involved. And if we finish this interview, if you like, with what is your top tip for anyone watching this and feeling like that this sounds great. This all sounds amazing. But I just don't really think I'm at that place where I've got an idea of how to make this into a business.
Do you know, and this one's for me is for really easy. And I guess I've learnt by, dare I say, my own mistakes, but every mistake brings a lesson, right? So I've worked with a number of coaches over the year. I always believe if you want to be better, you need to be working with somebody that's better than you or has gone the path that you want to go. And I think one of my top tips would be find the right coach. Now, I think for me, one of the things is when I stumbled across Emma, and it was still, and I'm going back years, I've followed Emma for a long, long time before I got involved. And one of the things that I love is, there's so many resources. You don't need to have it figured out. I actually went into a free group that she has that says, start your online business, and literally looked through like 10 options of businesses you could do. And it kept bringing me back to the same thing. So I knew intuitively that I was going down the right path. But I would say get into a community, get into an environment where actually people can cheer you on. People, won't, taboo any ideas that you've got, but actually will help you develop them or maybe point you in a slightly different direction. Because I think that's the biggest thing is having the right coach. Because I've had a few and they've all taught me things, but it's just completely changed. When I spoke to Emma, and I had the privilege of doing a hot seat with Emma as well, but she just like it was almost like it just threw out a red carpet and it all just rolled out. So again, get the support that you need, tap into a community that's going to cheer you on so that when you're having the struggles, you can go and reach out to somebody and say, look, because when you're having the struggles, Tina, it's important to say, you feel as though there's something wrong with you. You feel as though like, I'm not good enough. You get in your own head. But when you go, actually, I've never thought I was good at tech, for example, so I can go and speak to somebody that is. And I think for that just makes me, I'm less hard on myself because I know it's not my expertise. So plug into an expert.
It's like you're almost allowing yourself to see things objectively now. Whereas instead of like before, it might have been like you say, making it about a flaw in you, a flaw is in your, skill set or you as a person, your character flaws. But it's actually, it's like, well, I need to do this, this, and this. I've never done that before. So the chances of me being very good at that right now are slim. Right? I've never done it, but I'm open to learn. And the sooner that you get off your own back, the sooner you stop beating yourself up, that opens the door for creativity, for learning, for growth. Like you're not in a space where you're trying to learn, but you've only got half of the focus because the rest of it is going, you're not going to get this, you're never going to get it. I'm telling you, you're not going to get it. You're going to still be here next month. You're never going to have a business. I don't know why you're trying to do this because even when you've got a business, no one's going to buy. And you have all of that noise. If you can just hark the noise and think like you, objectively, strategically, okay, I need to build an email list. What do I need? I need software, I need automations. I don't know how to do that. So I will speak to the right person who's going to tell me what to do. And they will make it very clear. Step 1, step 2, step 3. I can now go away and do it. And then you're going to come back and say, what do I need next? What do I need next? What do I need next? And I think like I use that question all the time, especially within a sales process. When I'm speaking to someone, I'm like, what do you need? Well, I need this, this, and this. Okay, well, this is going to get you that, that, and that. Okay, what else do you need? To the point where you've answered all your own questions.
And you know what, Tina, sometimes people don't know what they need. And I think that was the thing for me, because when it was like, right, you need to build an email list, I won't tell you what I had before I came in, because actually, I'm like, okay, that was not an email list, Pam. But anyway, that's a whole different story. But it's just even going, right, well, I don't know what I need. And somebody's saying, right, okay, I'm going to give you the next 3 steps because I'm always, some people like just the next one. I'm like, give me the next three because I want to move quickly. And then, I mean, I've got to step two and I've went, I'm not really getting it. It's not doing what you've told me. So I've gone back and said, look, I've played around I will always be willing to learn and have a go. But I also will say to myself, right, I'm not going to spend 4 days procrastinating on the fact that I don't know how to do that. I'm going back to say, listen, I've done what I think you said to do. Can you just check where I'm at? And sometimes it's the tiniest little things that you don't know. And at that point, but then of course you can teach it on to other people. So you're like, well, now I know that. When anybody says to me, oh, Pam, I'm stuck. Oh, I know what you've done there because I've done that. So again, it's that finding the right style of coaching and the right person that you can relate to, because I've had some funny conversations. I'm like, it's me again. I'm back. Like, oh, Pam.
But from an expert's perspective on that, that's great, because it's great for us to see your journey unravel. Like, it's great to get the feedback and see the action that you're taking, and then see you get excited for the next step, or see those light bulb moments where you're like, oh, yes, that makes sense now. Like, if you're coaching and you have one conversation and that person then disappears and does the work, unless you have regular contact or you're following them, you don't always see the journey. So like being in Platinum and being able to watch people in that close space, it's just a beautiful thing, I think, for everybody involved. Obviously, Emma's going to be super proud of what she's created, and seeing people grow from the seed that was planted in her head when she decided to grow this and to create Iconic, to create Platinum.
And I think one of the things, Tina, is the expert people like yourself that are in there. Again, it doesn't, I've never in the expert calls I've done, I've never had anybody say to me, well, why wouldn't you know that? So it's that complete. It's like as if you've got this whole new community of besties that are just like your business besties and go, right, you're really good at that. Tell me what I'm doing wrong, and then help stream. And sometimes it's a case of actually, let me do that, and we can collaborate and work together on it, because it's a case of your expertise, and you're like, well, it's not just a 3-step thing, Pam. So you take away a lot of the noise, a lot of the stuff that we, again, beat ourselves up about. But it's that finding that right community. And what I love about the mix of what we've got in Iconic is that you've got all the different areas, and the value. I mean, Tina, I could talk forever on this. The value, what people invest in that program versus what they get from it. I've had my money's worth in the first month. just like so I'm, when people say to me, well, it's not, I'm like, well, if you want it enough, find a way to make the investment, because it's completely changed things for me, and 2025 is going to be super exciting, and it'll be the decision to take that step and go in there. I could have thought, do I invest, do I not? I've worked with coaches, but I didn't. I just went, this is it, this is the one. And I knew from that first conversation with him, and I was like, right, I'm just doing it. We'll worry about everything else later. Let's just get into action. Messy action is better than no action, right?
Amazing, incredible. Like, results that you've had are incredible. The way that you talk about it, the passion that comes through is just a delight to see and hear. And I know that in spring you are going to be, I was going to say, springing into spring, literally. And if you're interested in the science behind manifestation, you know who to think of. Go check out Pam. And thank you so much for sharing today.
Thank you, Tina, and thank you for having me.